Hello everyone, how's it going? Billy Ballgame here, back with another video. On this channel, I'm just a dude who loves talking about baseball and talking about baseball cards. And today's video is kind of gonna serve a few purposes. For one, to start off, I'm gonna do a recap of last week because I think it's been right at a week or a little over a week since I've done my last video. And there's been a little bit of excitement going on the channel, so I wanted to share some of that with you. And then I think what I'll do is I will close with the National and talk about it for a little bit, and I may have a few questions for y'all. So to get started, again, an exciting announcement. Some of you may have seen it already, but Scott from Reindeer Studio drew a logo for me for my channel, and I'm so excited for that, and I can't thank Scott enough. It's been a long time coming. I started this channel on YouTube, I believe it was January 30th of, this is 2024, so it would have been 2023. So a little over a year and a half I've had my YouTube channel, and my old logo was one that my wife very quickly cobbled together for me off of Canva. That was kind of my placeholder. So I'm really excited to actually have a logo, and all of you that are in and around the YouTube community know what a talented artist Scott from Reindeer Studio is. And I would highly recommend that you go to his Etsy page, Reindeer Studio, and check it out. He's got lots of amazing artwork on there and lots of sports and sports card related t-shirts. As a matter of fact, recently he created a logo for my buddy Greg from Midlife Cards, and he is actually selling Greg's t-shirts on his Etsy site, and I still need to go pick one up. And again, Scott's just such a talented dude, and he did an amazing job on Greg's logo as well. So I hope you enjoy the new logo, courtesy of Scott from Reindeer Studio. So thank you once again, Scott. So that's the big excitement, and I'll put a screen capture of the logo up on screen, so those of you who haven't really seen it yet can get a better look at it. I changed it a few days ago, and it shows up in my, my channel kind of icon, but it's tiny. So I figured I'd put up a bigger version so you all could get a better look at it. So let's see what's going on. So Adam, my buddy Adam from Oregon, I apologize, it's been delayed. I do have a stack of cards to send out for you in a care package. I just have to get my goofy butt to the post office and get that mailed out to you. We're going out of town on Tuesday, so I really need to do that tomorrow. And today is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and I appreciate you. So Adam, your care package is coming. So yesterday we went to Kansas City, and of course we ate barbecue. We went to a couple of antique malls. Now I decided not to do it as a ball cards and barbecue episode because my last one was like 2 weeks ago. So hopefully I'll get another chance to get out and about and eat barbecue, in July. But at the antique store, again, we went to two of them. I made a few pickups, nothing major, but I bought an 89 score supplemental set. Now, this one has a really cool picture or a really cool card of Bo Jackson, kind of similar to his baseball card from the score set where he's in his baseball pads with the bat over his shoulder. The card in here, if you're not aware of it, is in the same photo shoot, and it's just a different pose, but I think it's a really cool card. Now, unfortunately, that card was not in this set. It was wrapped in cellophane. It said complete set, do not open, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't in there. So at some point I'm going to have to buy probably a PSA or an SGC 9 just because I really like the card, and that's really the whole reason why I bought the set. But that set also has Shannon Sharpe's rookie card, and it has a few other cool cards in there. And then also one of my other pickups yesterday at the other antique mall was I bought a box of 91, 92 Upper Deck Hockey. It was cheap. I've opened one box of that previously. It's up here. But this box was, I think, a really good box. So I got some cards that I don't ever remember getting out of packs when I was a kid opening these. And I just think they're really cool. So these are award winner holograms. That's Brett Hull winning the Hart Trophy. So basically the NHL MVP that season. And Upper Deck, as a lot of you will remember, when they first started out, like, holograms were their big thing. And the first few years, their holograms were really not very good. But as they went through and continued to make them, they got a lot better with them. And so I actually got 3 of these award winner holograms out of here. And I'd never gotten any of these before. And with the last box that I opened, I didn't get any of them. I think Ed Belfour is the Jennings Trophy. I can't really read that. But Eddie the Eagle has like 3 of these in here because I believe he also won the Vezina Trophy, which is, if I'm not mistaken, the league's best goaltender. And then he won the Calder Trophy as well, which was NHL Rookie of the Year. And then I got the Wayne Gretzky Art Ross, which is for the leading scorer in the NHL. So these were super cool. I don't remember ever having these before, and to get 3 of them out of one box I thought was pretty sweet. So I believe that will wrap it up for the weekly recap. Sorry, my phone is being wonky and not wanting to focus. Come on, focus. There we go. And it got all dark all of a sudden. But, all right, so let's talk about the National. So I'm sure on some of the other YouTube channels you've seen a few videos starting to show up in your feed on the National. For me, this is the first National I've been to that I'm absolutely certain was a National. And some of you may have heard this before. I believe I went to a National in St. Louis in like 93 or 94. A buddy of mine called me up and if I remember the conversation correctly, told me, hey, the National Sports Card Collector Convention's in St. Louis this weekend. Do you want to go with me? And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we went up there. I can't remember where it was at. I keep wanting to say it was at the Kiel Convention Center, but I don't think that's where it was. But it was a huge show. Him and I went and waited in line forever for hockey card autographs. And you know what? I'll go ahead and pull them out. I'll show you some of the ones that I got. So hang on, I'll be right back with you. All right, so I'm back with you. I have the few of these autographs that I still have left. So I guess the rest of them I sold when I was in high school like a knucklehead because I sold so much stuff. But the biggest one I had that I got at that show was Adam Oates. If you know hockey, you'll know Adam Oates. But Adam Oates is a Hall of Famer. He was a center for the Blues for quite a while that they picked up to play on Brett Hull's line and feed Brett Hull. But I don't have that one anymore. So here's a Sergio Momesso. Just kind of a rugged, tough guy, right winger. I believe he's right wing, left wing. Wasn't really a big scorer or anything, but was a good penalty killer, and he would scrap when he needed to. But this was back in the old days of the NHL when everybody fought. I mean, pretty much everybody. Even like the big scorers, the goal scorers, they fought. Like Steve Yzerman used to get into fights. So it was just a different game back then. And then here's Rick Mahar, was a longtime St. Louis Blues captain. Again, just kind of a scrappy guy. not a huge goal scorer or anything like that. Was a third and fourth line player. Was with the Blues for a long time, and he has a great autograph. I don't know if it'll show up well on there, but this is my favorite one that I still have. This is Jeff Brown. He was an offensive defenseman and was really good, and he has an amazing autograph. And so if that was the national I went to when I was in high school, that's how we spent most of our time. And in all reality, like I've stated before, I probably had 10 or 20 bucks at the most to spend at this show. So this one will be a whole new ball game for me. And the hobby was huge this was probably, I don't know, 92, 93, maybe 94 at the latest. The hobby was huge back then, but I don't know if it was as big as it is now. Like, I'm fully expecting to be overwhelmed as soon as I walk onto the floor of the National. And, sorry, my camera's doing that wonky thing again, where it gets dark. I don't know why, but so I'm sure I'm going to be overwhelmed as soon as we walk in. Like, I think 400,000 square feet of floor space or somewhere along those lines. So it's going to be overwhelming. Now, the plan was for the first day or two just to kind of get a lay of the land and get an idea of dealer prices, which dealers were willing to negotiate, and stuff like that, and kind of figure out my game plan from there. But our plans changed. So we're going to get there on Wednesday. I don't know what time. And then we'll be there Thursday, Friday, and then we're leaving Saturday, I think around noon or so. And I'll be going with my buddy Tom from Jeff City, my buddy Chris from Missouri, our buddy Brent Cooper, and his son. We'll all be rolling out together. So we're going to leave, like I said, Saturday afternoon, because we're making a detour through Indiana, and we're going to go to the Larry Bird Museum on the way back, which I think will be super cool. So before, I was worried about spending all my money at one table in the first hour and then being kind of just a cheerleader, for lack of a better term, for all my other YouTube buddies for the rest of the show. But now that we're only going to be there for a few days, that may not be a bad thing if I spend all my money at one table the first day. So we'll see how it goes. But I think just as exciting for me, as exciting as going to the National for the first time as an adult, that's a better way to say that, I just as much, if not more so, look forward to meeting all the YouTubers, all my YouTube buddies that we've watched each other's videos. Some of them I've been on their channels. I'm hoping I can start having people on my channel, because my wife did get me a camera for her computer for Father's Day. So I'm hoping to get that figured out, and maybe I can start doing some collaborations, because the camera on her computer is terrible. But I really look forward to meeting a lot of those guys in person that, you know, I've known kind of through the YouTube community, more so in the last year or so, maybe 6 months. So I really look forward to meeting a lot of these guys at the National. So that'll be just as much fun for me as actually going and buying cards. But I'm starting to get prepared. So I bought a really cool fanny pack that I'll be rocking, that I'll be able to put my wallet in and whatever cards I pick up. I haven't decided if I'm going to bring any cards with me, because to be honest with you, any cards that I would be able to bring are either cards I'm not really crazy about in my collection, or they would be cards that are lower graded than I want to keep in my collection long term. So the jury's out on that, on whether or not I'm going to actually bring any cards with me. But it may not hurt just to potentially have a couple extra $100 if I need it. But my budget is shaking out to be pretty good. So I think I'm going to have $2,000 or a little bit more maybe 2,400 at the most to spend on cards, because the rest of it will be food and hotel and gas and stuff like that. So with 2,400 or $2,000, like, that's more than I ever thought I would have in my entire life to spend on baseball cards at any given time. So that gives me some options, and I've got two different trains of thought, and I've had a few conversations with some collecting buddies here recently, and they kind of fall into two trains of thought as well, and I thought I would get your input and see what your thoughts are. Seeing as I don't very often have $2,000 to $2,400 worth of money to spend on cards, one train of thought is buy as many awesome cards as I can to fit into that budget. And the other option is buy the coolest, biggest, most expensive card that I can fit within my budget. And to be honest with you, I'm leaning toward the second one, and there's one specific card in mind, maybe a couple, that I would like to pick up if everything comes together. So I'm not going to go in with a very rigid plan on what I'm going to buy. I'm going to come up with a list of 10 or 12 cards. I'm going to order them. I'm going to number them in order of priority. And that way, that will give me some more flexibility to where initially I was focused in on 4 cards. And I just feel as if I focus in on just 4 cards, I may miss out on other deals, or I may get so focused in on those 4 cards that I push the issue and maybe don't spend my money as wisely as I could if I had more options that I left for myself on the table. So I think what I'm going to do is make the first 3 or 4 cards on my list like bigger cards that probably if I buy one, like, I'm done at the National. And then if I don't find any of those top 3 or 4 cards that I like, then I'll start moving down the list, and they're still awesome cards, but they're all cards in, I would say, like the $500 to $800 range, where I could get anywhere from 4 or 5, 3 maybe, depending on the card. And some awesome cards as well. But my thought is, again, it's not very often that I have to spend, let's say $2,200 on a card. So if I can find a card that I really, really want, that fits in my budget, matches my eye appeal, all that other stuff, then why not go ahead and just buy that $2,200 card, knowing that I will probably not have this much money saved up again unless I'm going to a National. If I can save up $2,200 to $2,400 to buy one card, that it's going to be easier, especially if I'm not going to go to the National like maybe next year or the following year or whatever, to save up to buy some of the other cards on my list that are around $800 or so, right? So my mindset is get the most expensive cards knocked out first, and then I can work my way down into the least expensive cards, which to me, they're still expensive and they're still iconic, amazing cards, but it won't be as difficult for me to put that money together as it would be $2,400 to buy a $2,400 card. So I hope you're following my thought process on that. And it's what I'm doing with the 1960 Topps set. Like, the most expensive card was the Mickey Mantle, and that was one of the earlier cards that I bought. So I had the biggest one out of the way, and that makes all the rest of them easier to fill in. And since then I bought the Yastrzemski. I already kind of had a Willie Mays, even though I want to upgrade it. But I bought all 3 of the Mantles. I got those knocked out pretty early, and now all I have left are a couple of the bigger cards. Hank Aaron's base card and his All-Star, and then another Willie Mays if I'm going to upgrade it, and then the Willie Mays All-Star. And then after that, really all the rest of them are around $100, maybe a little bit more. Yogi Berra, Sandy Koufax, other than the Willie McCovey rookie, which I still don't have. So that is kind of my thought process with these mostly rookie cards that I'm targeting. If I start getting the most expensive ones knocked out, all the other ones fall in behind it and are much easier to achieve, especially on my budget. Now, kind of what I've wanted to focus my channel on is being a budget collector, because most of you know, for the longest time I collected on a $200 a month budget. Before that, I collected on a less than $200 a month budget. But since picking up 2 coaching jobs within my school, that allowed me to take my budget from $200 to $450 a month, with the mindset of saving up for the national. Now, I've made some big purchases this year. I bought a King Griffey Jr. autographed bat, which you can see up here, from my buddy Dan in Maine, and that was a big chunk. I also bought a big collection of cards from him from the 70s. That was also another big chunk of money. So in theory, I could have more money with me to bring to the national had I have not bought those 2 items. But I'm happy to have them, and to me, I really do think that 2,000 to 2,400, like, I can do a lot of damage with that money at the national. So like, I can pick up some really cool cards, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So we're about a month and a half away from the national, so I will have one more allowance for my monthly allowance will drop in my account before the national, and then we'll be ready to head out. So let me know what your thoughts are on my plan. Now, I know full good and well within the first 5 minutes that could change. You know, I had a conversation with my buddy Tom the other night and ran down kind of my list of cards that I was thinking about adding to look for at the national to target. And of course, I won't be able to get all 10 or 12, but I want to do the most damage on that list that I can. And he asked me, he was like, are there any cards out there that you can think of that would change your mind and take you off of any of these 12 cards? And at the time, I didn't think that there would be anything. But now that I've had some time to think about it, I think one card could maybe move me off that list, and that would be a Wayne Gretzky rookie card. So if I could find a Wayne Gretzky rookie card in my budget, now for me it would be probably a Topps in a 7, preferably SGC, honestly, because they're cheaper and I think they look better. But if I could find an SGC or a Wayne Gretzky rookie that worked, that's probably the one card that could move me off of any of these 12 on my list. So I'm not going there planning on buying a Wayne Gretzky card. I'm just saying, if things came together correct, you know, in the perfect storm, so to speak, that card could bump me off of the bigger cards on my list. Now, that's about a $1,300 or $1,400 card. So in theory, if I bought that, I would still have another $600 to $1,000, which I could still do some serious damage with. So we'll see how it all plays out, but I'm looking forward to it. And part of me, like, I'm a planner, right? So I like to be prepared and plan and analyze and do all that to calm my military brain, because my military brain doesn't like the unexpected, right? But I know as soon as I walk into the national, that plan's going to probably be thrown out the window. But the more prepared I am, the more likely I am to stick to that plan. So it would have to be really good deals on other cards to move me off of the 10 or 12 cards that are on this list. And I really don't think that can happen, because the 10 or 12 cards on my list are, to me, some of the most iconic rookie cards in baseball's history, of some of the best players, to me, in baseball history throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s. So for me, these are all big cards that I grew up wanting. So to me, it's going to be really hard to find something that would get me to move some of those down my list or bump a card way up to the top of the list that I wanted to buy over any of those other ones. So that's just my thought process. So again, we'll see how it goes. That could go out the window within 5 minutes. You never know. But if you see us there, I haven't been to very many shows. I think I've only been to 2 or 3 shows since I've started my channel. So if you see us there, please come up and say hi, introduce yourself. I'd be happy to meet some of you and chat with you. That's only happened really a couple times before, and one of them was, AR Cards. They have their a YouTube channel, but we set that up ahead of time to meet them at that show. And then another one was my buddy Doug out of St. Louis. He has a YouTube. He's been doing shorts. Doug Sports Collector, something I can't remember off the top of my head, and I apologize for that, Doug. But him and I met at one of the shows in St. Louis, and I really enjoyed that. I ran around with Doug quite a bit and spent a lot of time with him. Unfortunately, I won't have time to run around with people all day on the national floor because our time is limited. But I'd be more than happy to meet you, shake your hand, and thank you for your support of the channel at a minimum. So if you see us there, please don't hesitate to come up and introduce yourselves. And I know Chris loves it. So Chris will probably, there'll be a line forming for Chris to sign autographs. But I'm going to be hopefully wearing the t-shirt with the new logo and all that other stuff. So if you see it, that's me. Come up and introduce yourself. I'd be happy to meet all of y'all that watch my channel. So I've been babbling on for about 25 minutes now. So I have comfortable shoes. I'll make sure that I'm hydrated and full of electrolytes, and that I get plenty of sleep, and that all my essentials are tucked securely into my fanny pack, because I would hate to be a victim of a pickpocket or anything like that. So I think I'm pretty much ready, other than just waiting for the rest of the money to dump into my account. So again, I'm super excited, and I can't wait to meet some of you there, whether you're on YouTube or not. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you, and can't wait. And I'm really geeked up for the YouTube meet and greet. So that's another thing I meant to talk about. So it was kind of iffy there for a while on whether or not it was going to happen, because they couldn't find a venue and they couldn't get it all put together, but they were able to do that. And then if you can, or you would like to, please reach out to Mike Moynihan and let him know that you would like to make a donation for the cause, because this stuff isn't free. So they have to rent the actual space that they're going to do the YouTube meet and greet in. I think he said they're going to buy pizza and provide drinks. I can't remember how that works, but at least pizza and the space, those aren't free. So anything you could kick in to help, I'm sure Mike would appreciate it greatly. And anything left over, Mike has already said, will go toward future YouTube meet and greets. So if you can and you would like to, please feel free to reach out to Mike Moynihan and make a donation to the cause. You can message him through his YouTube channel. You can message him on Instagram. Most of the people on YouTube probably already have his phone number, but he would be happy to get any help that you can provide for that. I'm sure even if it's 10 or 20 bucks, that anything will help. So I think I'll wrap it up at that. So again, I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Father's Day once again for all of you dads out there. And until the next one, I hope everybody has a good one, and I'll talk to you later.